How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today, I fancy doing this one called the Toppled Giant, where I've got to go and grab the Azov 4220 Antarctic from like sort of abandoned in the river a little bit. So I'm on factory grounds. I'm at the yard at the minute, but yeah, it's over there, kind of as you head towards the gateway. For some reason, it's got a trailer with it. But you don't actually have to do anything to do with that, and then yeah, you got to take it over to the Tatra garage. I could have gone round this way as one option, but in the end I just kind of figured, yeah, I'll go over this bridge. I've built that bridge though, so if you did this mission in an order where you haven't built those bridges, obviously, to be honest, on the map a little bit north of the bridge there's a crossing that would be doable. Yeah, I fancy taking the Kolob for this one, because like someone said the other day, which I kind of do agree with. I get like the Zix has made the Kolob a bit sort of irrelevant, and yeah, I get what they're saying, but I was like, sod it, I'll have a little go with the Kolob. One thing I really like about the Kolob, that's hence why I got a goddamn professional with me, which I was going to have anyway, obviously. But as you can see there, I can pack a loaf on the back of the Kolob, and I don't need a sideboard, and I can't remember off the top of my head if the long nose one does it, but regardless, this is basically the only vehicle in the game that you can do that. There might be one or so other, but yeah, that's a pretty cool, unique feature, and that I'm doing right now, because I just leave them like the suspension always raised, but I don't know, this thing's been sat in my garage for a while or whatever, it must have been lowered there. So yeah, it's also got the raisable suspension now, which I really like that. When they added that in Yukon, I believe, and yeah, made the Kolob way better. So on the off chance anyone drove this ages ago and just didn't like that it got its chin caught quite a bit and all the rest of it, that raised suspension, yeah, helped a lot. It's actually like a pretty decent lift it's got going on, but it just overall, if you think the way the map's been balanced, like, you know, some of the smaller wheeled trucks get stuck on rocks, the big wheeled stuff, the rocks aren't big enough to get stuck. It's like, now this has raised that amount, it went from getting caught on 90% of obstacles to, say, 10%, but probably not even that anymore. So yeah, it actually made a big difference. There's certain trucks that you could add an extra few inches to the tyres and it'd still get pretty much just as stuck everywhere, but this thing actually got over that limit where it now suddenly just doesn't hassle you anywhere near as much. Didn't technically need to, but as I clip that tree, it's like, fine. If that's how it is, tree. The Kolob has always been very good. Even pretty slow speeds, mashing trees out of the way. I kind of figured if I'm going to be towing this thing out of there in a minute. But yeah. May as well, just in case, just on the off chance. And at this point, hadn't ever tried getting, pulling this Antarctic out or anything like that. It's my first time whipping it out. That's definitely what she said. Right, so little victory horn. Let's go. Oh, what a lovely day to be a loaf. Of course I'm sending in a goddamn professional. He knows what he's doing. And as well, the other nice thing with the loaf, obviously, as usual, it's got more length. Yeah, like the Kolob, you can see where, so you can see the current of that water. I'd basically have to just reverse nearer, a bit nearer anyway, to this to reach it. And yeah, I don't know. Well, you'll see. There's a goddamn horse. Like, I don't need to send the Kolob. I'm actually amazed that there used to be a bug on the Antarctic with the snorkel, so even when it had the tall snorkel, it still act like it hasn't. They have fixed that now, thankfully. That's one of the few bugs I can think of they actually fixed. But I'm surprised they put a snorkel on this. I'm surprised they didn't just make it basically drown then as I was towing it out. Like, it took a bit of engine damage, but nothing crazy. Yeah, so I got it to this point. You can see I still don't like this, that the Antarctic will drive and with me when I'm not pressing the winch button, but when I do press the winch button, it'll just stop basically, or as near as makes no difference. You can see now the front tyres aren't even doing any effort or anything. But then at some point, oh yeah, now you can see it gets caught on like a log on the floor, and at that point I just So yeah, that'll do. I can literally reach it here now with the Kolob. But yeah, again, goddamn horse, save the day as usual. Oh, I quickly sent him in just to 19 repair points, I think it was. I could have swore I took more damage than that, but whatever. And 19 fuel, I think. But got it done, and see, it's another thing. Like, you do have a roof rack and everything. Obviously, on this Kolob, you could fit a bit more stuff. It would be quite nice if they put a roof rack on pretty much all the trucks by now, to be honest. I'm not going to lie, at this point, if I had a roof rack on this Kolob, I'd still put a loaf on top. There is no doubt about it, but it would still, yeah, still be nice. And again, I can't really see any situations where it's going to break the game. It's a little bit like I said with the cranes, how they're really weak, like the crane balancing. I don't know what it is they're scared that we're going to gain if the crane just works as it should. And I'm not even expecting it to lift like big trucks like this. It'd be nice, I wouldn't complain, and I don't think it'd break the game, but all I want to do is it can lift a metal beam at full extension, or it can lift a loaf or whatever. And for some reason they just really don't want to make it happen. And it's funny because it's not like you're limited by real world physics and you now have to physically pay for better cranes to have them in the game. All they've got to do is fiddle with some numbers, so it's a bit of an odd one. And then anyway, as we're coming up to this point now, this is clearly why they put this section in. It just, obviously you can see the bank sort of slides off pretty sharply. I'm honestly surprised that the oh yeah, I left it in high. The Kolob tips here as easy as it did the, what's it called, the long nose one, whatever the numbers are. I can say with pretty much 100% certainty that it wouldn't have tipped there. Long story short, now, right, this is restaging it where I'm flipping this over. This is what annoys me. You know that extra winch menu that pulls up? This is definitely partly my fault, but I just keep mashing the circle button now as like a muscle memory just to try and get rid of that extra winch menu because I keep getting bitten by that. I press the button to save the footage and I just like automatic muscle memory. Just as I was doing it, I was like, no, I hit circle and I didn't save the footage. And thankfully the saving cogs hadn't gone off again, so I could reload the game up where the Kolob was on its roof, which that you just seen there was my second attempt at rescuing the Kolob. It's not the end of the world, it's just the first run was so nice and smooth and everything. Just, yeah, I was like, oh my god. And yeah, it was because I hit the bloody... Just, now I have a natural reaction to just mash the circle button, because if I sort of overcompensate with mashing that, I get bit by the winch menu less. So yeah, wasn't too happy about that one. But anyway, again, as usual, Loaf's goddamn professional. He flipped the Kolob. We're all good. Not that I needed any spares and repairs, but he's got all of them. As well as, like that blue Loaf, it was pretty handy that it sort of ended up propping the back of this thing up, because then when I reversed the Loaf into it, it just, yeah, kind of flipped. The Kolob's actually not as hard as you'd think to flip back. Stuff like I really don't like flipping is the what's it called, like the Bandit, stuff like that is just because the Bandit, the Loaf can pull it but it'll just drag along on its side. This thing, if you wedge the Loaf behind a tree and blah blah blah, you'll probably pull this thing along on its side all day long. Well, you can in fact, but this thing's actually inclined to just sort of dig in and your Loaf will flip it. Like, it definitely has the majority of its weight just purely in its chassis. The long nose one is, honestly, it feels like basically 98% of its weight in its chassis. The roof just means nothing. Yeah, trying to roll the long nose one is actually more difficult than not rolling it. And yeah, this is the bridge I built, so if you look, well, you can't see it, but to the right of the screen there's a crossing over the water that you could use if you haven't built this bridge. At this point, well, there you go, got a goddamn horse. One, I was missing my lifetime anyway, so I went and got him. Secondly, I obviously just thought as well I'd show you, again, I can pack the Loaf on the back of the Kolob, I can also fit one on the roof, so if I had to go and get a trailer or something, yeah, put one on the roof and grab a semi-trailer, all that sort of stuff. or I can take 2 loafs with me. And yeah, the Kolob, to be honest, I'm still a little bit surprised it rolled where it did, but yeah, it's definitely way up there, like, that's what she said. Like top 3 or something, is, yeah, easily top 5, probably top 3 of like trucks that are pretty bloody good at not rolling, and yeah, they could handle a loaf balance and all the rest of it. Like I said, you can still get one on there and tow your trailers. Now you got a roof rack. That's it really. It's nice. So yeah, having a little test around with it, like I certainly still agree with that guy that the Zix has made this a little bit more irrelevant, but it's still definitely good enough. It felt pretty good on this map, like it could handle the map and it wasn't limping. It didn't feel a bit of an old. So it's weird actually, because a lot of the, still to this day, the best trucks in the game are the stuff we all got given right at the start. And again, I'd definitely say the Zix is in the top objectively best trucks these days. I really do like the new Phoenix. The Force actually felt pretty good on Phase 4 when I drove it in the live stream near the end on what was it, Cosmodrome. I drove the Force on, and I drove the Phoenix on Chimcharuski, what's it called, Chinokomensk. Yeah, they felt it, they made more sense on Phase 4 for whatever reason. I still like the Phoenix even on Phase 5, but yeah, as far as it goes, I still agree that the Zix has replaced this to a degree. A big thing with the Zix though, for me, is like just the fact that it has a roof rack is extra precautionary measures that I have with me before I have to send in the loaf, blah 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 blah, do whatever. Or I've also got a loaf on top of these Zix normally, but yeah, if they put a roof rack on this, I think it'd balance things out, because especially that it's now got the raisable suspension and stuff, that does help a lot. I was just going to say as well quickly, I was yesterday, to be honest, about 80% kind of decided I wasn't going to do a video because I didn't sleep and that. I was just kind of getting round to where I was going to put a message saying I'll skip it tonight. And then, at 4:10 in the morning, someone knocked on my bloody door. It's like, you really don't want to knock on my door at 4:10 in the morning. It's like, I'm planning hypothetical ways to murder you as we speak. Yeah, nipped upstairs, had a look out the top window. I could see a car down the road with its hazards on, which obviously there's a very high chance they're just broken down and who knows what they needed. But page 2 of the how to rob someone handbook, I'm gonna guess, is park your car a little bit down the road, put hazards on, and then yeah, couldn't possibly be a robbery because nobody would think to do something, you know, you can't fake hazards. So yeah, not sorry. I instead of answering the door, I literally shut my window. And I live on a first floor flat, so I'm not worried about them climbing in. I'm just worried about them shouting up, trying to get my attention. So I, nope, shut that. I think Captain Save a Ho or Save a Bro anymore. I'm the guy that shuts the window, and it's like, yeah, you're gonna have to ring someone else because I'd like to keep all my stuff this time. Last time I answered the door, an armed robbery occurred, so yeah. But the funny thing is, I'm not scarred for life, but I literally just don't answer the door now. It makes no odds to me. If my brother or family or mates coming round, it's like they'll just text me saying I'm on my way round. So yeah, no one's knocking on the door at 4:10 in the morning to say congratulations, you've won the lottery. And I don't really need to answer it for anything else. I'm not even, it's like there could be someone stood out there with a knife ready to kill me, and I honestly couldn't care less, because it's like I'm not answering the door. So you can sit out there all you like. When you start banging on that door and trying to come through it, then yeah, I've got about 8 different ways I'm going to stop you banging on that door. And yeah, that's it. Like I said, sorry not sorry. Yeah, this mission, all I was saying, by the time that happened, after that, I just went to bed and I forgot to post a message saying I won't make a video. Yeah, 2,500, a little bit cheap, but the mission was actually pretty cool. The Antarctic was easier to rescue. It's goddamn horse as usual. Why wouldn't it be easy? Look, there's another little one hiding in the background. And yeah, I mean, that's about it. This Kolob's still pretty decent, still pretty relevant, to be honest, even though, yeah, it has kind of been superseded in some ways. But yeah, that's about it for today though. I hope you enjoyed, I hope that helps. Thanks for watching, thanks to my Patreon members. Get yourself a loaf because it's goddamn beast, and a Kolob because it's still relevant enough, and I'll be back soon.